Recruiting never stops at Alabama, and one thing we know about Nick Saban is he's going to finish a recruiting cycle strong. So today, we're going to talk about two potential major additions to the Tide's 2024 class, but also five-star wide receiver Ryan Williams. His commitment, is it on shaky ground after the loss of Alabama wide receiver coach to Texas A&M? We're going to get into it with the great Tim Watts of BamaOnline, but first, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We know Saban's going to finish strong. You want to be a part of it, follow all the action. Hit subscribe for me, please. All right, let's bring on Tim Watts from BamaOnline. Now, Tim, we got two big decisions coming, and they'll be coming this weekend at the All-American game out there in San Antonio. Zay Mincy, four-star, number 48 overall, and running back Daniel Hill, four-star, number 188 overall. Let's start with Zay Mincy. He goes to Mainland High School down there in Daytona Beach, Florida. UF, FSU, Miami, all trying to keep him in state, but Bama seems like they're surging late. What are your sources saying on Alabama's chances here?
You know, Zay, it's been pretty interesting because from early in this process, now don't get me wrong, Zay Mincy's as quiet as about anybody we've ever covered. He just hasn't talked a whole lot. But we were told he was enamored with Alabama. He was enamored with the whole defensive back, the secondary, the history with the NFL, and that the head coach was a secondary guy, which obviously Nick Saban is. So we knew Alabama had a chance. But then again, you're looking, they had a big class. They've had a nice additions in their defensive back room in this class, including Damani Jackson from USC, who's in the portal now. A lot of these guys have position flexibility, and that goes to Zay as well. I think Charles Power said he measured at 6'2", 6'7" wingspan, so a guy that can play multiple positions. But Alabama's done a good job here. I mean, Alabama's did a good job recruiting him, staying in the mix. I know that a lot of Florida schools kind of hoped that basically Alabama would fill up at that position, but I think Alabama's did a good enough job that right now, you know, we put out some nuggets over the weekend. We think that Alabama's in the best position to land Zay Mincy Saturday.
There you go. Bama, the team to beat heading into this decision. Now, Daniel Hill, he'll also be deciding on Saturday. He's a four-star back out of Meridian, Mississippi, and really the recruitment comes down to South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi State. Tennessee kind of been involved, but I wouldn't say they're a major player here. But he has been on Alabama's radar, Tim. But I don't really feel like they turned the heat up on Daniel Hill till the end of his senior year. What changed? What happened during Hill's senior year to make him a priority for Alabama?
Well, I think it's a little more complicated than that. They wanted him to commit over the summer. Daniel's been on campus, I don't even know, as many times as, you know, Miss Terry, Nick Saban's wife has. He lives on that capstone. We looked up, there was a state championship game when Ryan Williams and Jalen Mbakwe was playing. We looked up, and he was on Instagram wearing an Alabama hat at that game on a random Wednesday. So he obviously very comfortable in Tuscaloosa, but he never quit. He's never committed. So you kind of wondered how long this was go on. We've heard the South Carolina buzz. We've heard Mississippi State buzz. Now, he said the whole time he wanted to commit this Saturday at this game. So that's been his plan the whole time. It's really hard to pull off, but I think, you know, it's kind of been, the ball's been in his court the whole time. I mean, they got Kevin Riley to flip from Miami. Daniel's a different kind of running back. I think Charles Power got him at a little under 6 foot, almost 240 pounds, and he looks like a running back. So he's a big back, you know, a guy that's a big boy, can play on either side of the ball. But again, I think Alabama's going to have the best chance of winning this in the end. I know that people close to him really liked Alabama, and again, he's unbelievably familiar with Tuscaloosa and the Alabama coaches. So I feel like Alabama's done a good job here and has a good chance to get his commitment on Saturday.
All right. Sounds like they could go 2 for 2 on Saturday with their targets. We'll have to see on that. The game is Saturday, January 6th. All right. Now, I teased it at the top. Alabama is losing their wide receiver coach, Hollowman Wiggins, to Texas A&M. And Ryan Williams, you know, he's kind of been, there's been a lot of rumors swirling about him. He reclassified from 25 to up to 24. But does the loss of Hollowman Wiggins have any impact on Ryan Williams' recruitment?
I wouldn't say it has no impact, but I think it's a limited impact because Alabama really does a good job of recruiting. You know, they say it takes a village to raise, you know, a kid. Well, it takes a village for Alabama to recruit somebody. Travaris Robinson is probably the key there. T-Rob, the defensive back coach at Alabama, great relationship with the dad, great relationship with the kid. I've heard him say he's part of the family, so he's heavily involved. Hallman, of course, does a good job of keeping up with kids and keeping up. But the one he was the closest with, I felt like, was Rico Scott and Amari Jefferson. I felt like he was more instrumental in that because Mobile's not his area, although he did help recruit. But I think, you know, minimum effect, I don't think Ryan Williams was going to Alabama for Hollowman Wiggins. I think it was more about Nick Saban, how he feels at Alabama, the tradition, the whole 9 yards with Alabama. So Alabama does a good job of making sure that one assistant doesn't take a lot of guys with them.
Okay. So Ryan Williams, he's come out and said that he's going to take January official visits to Texas, Alabama, and Auburn. But the thing that stands out to me is he's going to be on the plains right before signing day. The last visit he takes 3 days before National Signing Day will be to Auburn. Is there any concern there with that final visit pairing?
I don't really think it matters. I mean, I don't know where Alabama. First of all, I'm not sure. The rule to me has always been you want to be first or you want to be last, right? You don't want to be the middle. I think that's the hardest one. First impression, last impression. Almost like meeting your future wife or girlfriend. First or last. That's where you want to be. So also, what else can he learn about Alabama he hasn't learned? I don't think he'll learn more on the last visit weekend than he would the first visit. Also, I flipped that to Auburn. What else can he learn at Auburn on any weekend? I mean, obviously he's going to get, wined and dined, so to speak. He's going to get the red carpet and all of that, but he's very familiar with the Alabama campus. Like, he's been there almost as many times as Hill has. So you look at him, you look at how familiar he is with Auburn. I think Texas is the one he probably has the most to learn from in that situation. I don't think the timing of the visits were a big deal. It wasn't a big deal to Alabama.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'm a big believer in follow the visits, but you're right. Hey, maybe Alabama gets him on campus first and he shuts it down, doesn't take any more visits.
I don't think he's going to shut it down. I think the one thing about Ryan, I think when you look at Ryan, we're so jaded because we've been in this business so long. We say follow the visit. So we kind of, me and you've been in a long time too. When you hear a kid say, hey, I'm leaning to Bama, you're like, oh, no, he's not this close. We think it's it's almost a form of deception, but I'd be surprised. I mean, Ryan Williams has been very vocal. Joseph Hastings had a lot of coverage on him at the Under Armour game. I mean, he is saying we, us, hanging out, doing all that stuff together. I just think he's a good kid that wants to enjoy the process. As naive as that sounds, maybe on the signing day, I'll feel different, but I think he's just a guy that has a plan, and I think he wants to take these visits, and I think he should, honestly. If he wants to take it, you get one shot at it.
Hey, we'll see what happens. Ryan Williams, he's a heck of a player. Won't make or break Alabama's class either way because it's loaded, but they'd love to have a great offensive weapon. So we'll see what happens. Big weekend coming up with two big decisions. Tim Watts, thank you for dropping by the Inside Scoop and previewing all the action.
Anytime, guys.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.